The nature of any language is that it changes rapidly. Deshaha and Kalaha are the two major factors which bring changes in the language. If you take one state of India, you can see how the same language changes to different dialects in different regions. Similarly, with time too, language changes. Namo Namaha. My name is Shubha. I am a native Sanskrit speaker and a Sanskrit teacher. This video is a part of the Vedas, Vedangas and Upangas series. In this series, I have made videos about the Vedas in general and also about each of the four Vedas and also about the Vedangas, Shiksha, Kalpa, Jyotisha, Nirukta. In this video, I will be discussing the Vedanga Vyakaranam. First, let us understand the meaning of this word Vyakaranam. Vyakriyante anena iti Vyakaranam. Vyakriyante means to divide, to separate. What does this separate? It separates the sadhu shabdas from the asadhu shabdas. What is a sadhu shabda? Sadhu shabda means the correct usage of the language and asadhu shabda means the wrong usage. For example, gauhu meaning cow is a sadhu shabda, but Gavi, Goni, Gota, Gopo, Talika, these are all apashabdas or asadhu shabdas. Similarly, Badha is a sadhu shabda, but Bhada, Bada, Bhadha are apashabdas or asadhu shabdas. There is this famous shloka which says, Yadyapi bahuna adhishe tathapi pathaputra vyakaranam Swajana Shwajano Mabhut Sakalam Shakalam Sakrit Shakrit. Someone is telling his son, Hey Putra, Yadyapi Bahuna Adhishe. Even if you don't study too much, it's okay. But please study Vyakaranam, Pathaputra Vyakaranam. Because these kind of mistakes should not happen. Instead of Swajanaha, you must not say Shwajanaha. Swajanaha means our people, that is our family and friends. But Shwajanaha means dogs. Then Sakalam Shakalam Mabhut, meaning may this mistake not happen, where instead of Sakalam you say Shakalam. Sakalam means whole, but Shakalam means a fragment. And Sakrit Shakrit Mabhut, meaning may this mistake of saying Shakrit instead of Sakrit, let it not happen. Sakrit means one time and Shakrit means cow dung. Suppose someone wants to say he eats once every day. He will have to say Saha Pratidinam Sakrit Bhunkte. But instead, if he says Saha Pratidinam Shakrit Bhunkte, it will mean he eats cow dung every day. If you don't want such mistakes to happen, then better study Vyakaranam. This is one of the major purposes of having Vyakaranam as a Vedanga. In the Vedic society, maintaining the purity of Vedic words was of utmost importance. The nature of any language is that it changes rapidly. Deshaha and Kalaha are the two major factors which bring changes in the language. If you take one state of India, you can see how the same language changes to different dialects in different regions. Similarly, with time too, language changes. If I ask a Kannada speaking person to read the old Kannada work of Pampa, a very old famous Kannada poet of olden times, then most of the Kannada speaking people will not be able to do so unless they have studied Halegannada. Same with other languages also. If I ask a Tamil speaking person to read and understand Tolkapiyam, he will not unless he is trained in it. But if I ask a Sanskrit speaking person or even a person who knows basic Sanskrit to read and understand Ramayanam, then he or she will be able to do it. Why? Because the Sanskrit language remains intact even after so many years. Though there will be slight difference in the pronunciation of some letters in various parts of India, the language as such is same across India. This language did not get influenced by Desha and Kala because the ancient Indians were very smart and they developed a very structured grammar without any scope for ambiguity and change, and hence kept the language intact. Keeping the language intact and not allowing it to change is extremely important to preserve the valuable knowledge that is there in the language. When we think of Vyakaranam, the name that comes to our mind is Panini. But even before Panini, there were grammarians who compiled the Vyakaranam. There are references to Vyakaranam in the Vedas also. In the Gopatha Brahmana in Atharva Veda, we find this. Omkaram Prichhamaha. Ko dhatuhu. Kim pratipadikam. Kim nama akyatam. Kim lingam. Kim vachanam. Ka vibhaktihi. Kaha pratyayaha. Kaha swaraha. If you see this, there is a mention of all grammatical terms like dhatu, pratipadikam, lingam, vachanam, vibhakti, pratyaya, which the students of Sanskrit use even today in Sanskrit grammar. There were around 84 grammarians before Panini. Panini himself mentions the names of 10 of his predecessors: Apishalihi, Kashyapaha, Gargyaha, Galavaha, Chakravarmanaha, Bharadwajaha, Shakatayanaha, Shakalyaha, Senakaha, Spotayanaha. Before Panini, there used to be two Vyakaranas. One used exclusively to analyze Vedic words. These were called Pratishakyas. Example is Rik Pratishakya. And the other Vyakarana was for Laukika Shabdas. At this point, I would like to clarify the difference between Vedic Sanskrit and Laukika Sanskritam. Both are Sanskritam and they are not two different languages. Vedic Sanskrit is a language of revelation. It is a language in which the sages channeled knowledge in their deep states of meditation. Nobody speaks Vaidika Sanskritam. The Laukika Sanskritam is the language of communication. This is what we speak, and all the Sanskrit literature except the four Vedas are in this language. So there used to be two separate grammars for Vaidika Sanskritam and Laukika Sanskritam. It was Panini, the genius, who compiled a grammar that addressed both Vaidika Sanskritam and the classical Sanskrit, the Laukika Sanskritam, in a nutshell, and this book is called Ashtadhyayi. I will make a separate video on Ashtadhyayi because it is a very huge topic. Since Panini's Vyakaranam was so comprehensive and also covered Vedic and classic Sanskrit, all the previous grammars ceased to be studied and we don't get those grammar books now. And Panini's Vyakaranam is considered as a Vedanga. Now let us see what is the purpose of Vyakaranam. In Patanjali's Mahabhashyam, Maharshi Patanjali discusses the purpose of Vyakaranam and says this: Rakshohagama Lagva Sandeha. I will split this and explain one by one. Raksha means protection. I already discussed in the beginning how this structured Vyakaranam prevents the language from undergoing drastic changes. The ancient Indians saw that by nature language changes drastically and is mainly influenced by Desha and Kala, and they made a robust Vyakaranam to prevent such changes. Also, it was extremely important to preserve the Vedas as it is. For example, in the Panigrahana mantra we find like this: Gribhnami te panigrahane hastam. In Laukika Sanskritam, there is no such word as Gribhnami. Instead, it is Grinhami, which means to hold. If a person has not studied Vyakaranam, he will think that this must be a mistake in typing or in my listening, and he will change it to Grinhami. But we do not want to change the Vedic literature, but instead maintain it in its purest form. Second purpose is Uhaha, meaning modifying certain Vedic words correctly. For example, there is a mantra like this: Agnaye tva jushtam nirvapami, which needs to be recited while making an offering to Agni. The Vedas have given instructions that one must also make an offering to Surya, sun god. But the mantra to be recited while making the offering to sun god is not given. We have to correctly modify the mantra of Agni and say that while offering to Surya. To correctly modify, knowledge of grammar is needed. While making offering to Surya, one must say Suryaya Tvajushtam Nirvapami. If the person does not know the grammar, then he will modify it wrongly. Third purpose of Vedanga Vyakaranam is Agamaha. In Laukika Sanskritam, the order of words in a sentence can be anything. It does not matter, it will not change the meaning of the sentence. But in Vaidika Sanskritam, the order of word in a sentence matters. To know that, one must study Vyakaranam. The fourth purpose is Laghu. It is impossible to study all the words of Sanskrit. Even the Sanskrit dictionaries cannot capture all the words because the number of words are infinite. But if we study Vyakaranam, we don't have to study each word. I will be discussing more about this in the next video. And the fifth purpose is Asandeha. In Vedas, the meaning of compound words called samasa in Sanskrit can be deciphered by looking at the swara. For example, in this word anuttamaha can be interpreted in two ways. Na uttamaha meaning not good, or na vidyate asmat uttamaha meaning there is no one better than him, which means he is the best. Now, how do you know which meaning to take? In Vedic Sanskrit, the samasas are dependent on the swaras. If you see the Vedic intonation in the first case, it is different from the one in the second. So, only if a person studies the grammar thoroughly, he will be able to decipher the meaning of Vedic words correctly. In Ashtadhyayi, Panini Maharshi has kept 400 sutras exclusively to discuss the swaras, that is the Vedic intonations. In my previous videos on the other Vedangas, I have been quoting this shloka. Chandaf padau tu vedasya hastau kalpotha pathyate jyotishamayanam chakshur niruktam shrotramuchyate shiksha ghranam tu vedasya mukham vyakaranam smritam tasmat sangam adhityaiva brahmaloke mahiyate. If we give a human form to the Vedas and call him Veda Purusha, then we had seen that the Kalpa forms his hands, Shiksha is his nose, Jyotisha are his eyes, and Nirukta his ears, and Vyakaranam is his mouth. Why is Vyakaranam the mouth of the Veda Purusha? Because it is said like this, Shabdadinam Jagat Sarvam. That is, the whole world is at the mercy of Shabdas, words. Everything that exists has an associated word for it. If there is no word for something, it does not exist. How many of you agree to this? If yes, type Am Satyam in the comments. Am means yes and Satyam means true. So Am Satyam means yes, true. And the Shabdas are said using the mouth, the Mukham. And Vyakaranam deals with Shabdas. Through Vyakaranam, we understand what are Sadhu Shabdas and what are Asadhu Shabdas. That is, what is the correct usage of the language and which is the wrong usage. Since Shabdas are spoken using the mouth and Vyakaranam deals with Shabdas, it is said that Vyakaranam is the mouth of the Veda Purusha. That is it for this video. In the next video, I will talk about Paninian grammar. If you liked this video and found it useful, then please do like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and also kindly share it with interested people. And if you have not yet subscribed to Tattvam YouTube channel, then please do subscribe and click the bell icon so that you will get notified when I add new videos. Agrima video madhye punarmilami. Namo Namaha.